All right, man, peace. So the wide receiver for the Washington Redskins, Terrelle Pryor, alleges that he was called the word nigger at the end of the game between the Washington Redskins and the Kansas City Chiefs. Of course, they're going to talk about it. I'm going to chime in.
TMZ obtained this video of Terrelle Pryor flipping off a Chiefs fan as he walked to the locker room after the Redskins lost in Kansas City on Monday night. In the video, fans were cursing at Pryor, then Pryor had to be restrained by a Redskins coach. Pryor explained why he reacted on Instagram. Quote, being called an N-word several times to the point where an NFL employee had to step to me and stand by me the whole game from the second quarter on is the exact reason why guys are kneeling during the anthem. I chose not to kneel because as a team we decided to be one and stand. But as I walked in the tunnel, hearing someone call me an N-word and say F you to me flicking the person off is more deserving. I do apologize to my teammates and the organization, but at some point you keep calling us the N-word, we're going to start acting up. Hashtag straight like that.
Yeah, but as acting up, what you mean by acting up? You mean getting down on one knee and begging them to like you? I mean, I don't know what that means. Anyway.
At 100. Shannon, what's your reaction?
I can't blame Terrelle Pryor for his reaction.
Assuming that he actually was called what he said he was called. If that's the case, and I hope that it was. In many of these cases, I hope that these guys were the recipients of racism. Because I would hate to think that they just lost their composure and then just decided to claim that they were called the word nigger because that would give them some type of validity in losing their composure. It's very important that when you make those type of claims, that is what actually occurred. Because once again, when you play those little boy they cry wolf games, it makes the real cases of racism, it takes away a lot of the potency.
Skip, because you buy a ticket, it doesn't mean you get an opportunity to cross that line and say whatever you think, whatever comes to your mind. I'm human, and I don't care how much money you make. I don't care who you are. Every person alive has a breaking point.
I agree with that. And this is why I state that we live in the age of provocation. We live in the age of trolling. We live in the age of internet thuggery. We live in the age where people feel like they could say whatever the hell they want to say. And that there should never be any repercussions. That's not how life works. All right? That's not how anything works. Whatever you put out is what you receive.
They have a point that if you get them there, they will say or do something in response to what you said or done to them. That's just the way it works. But people now feel that because I paid between $50 and $100 or $500 for a ticket, I can say whatever I want. People, and stop telling me because I'm an athlete, Shannon, you make millions, you should be able to take it. No! They say things to this person when he's in pads or he's in gym shoes or on the court. They would never say to that person.
Of course, because they're ants. You have to understand how the masses of people, how they think. This is why they're viewed with such disdain by the ruling class. The masses of people, they have no form of self-identity. Their identity is totally framed in how they view the elite. So they view themselves not based off of their own self-defining or self-validation. They view themselves based only in accord with the elite. It's like a branch on a tree. You don't view yourself as the trunk. You view yourself as the branch that's coming off of the tree. So you don't feel like you're relevant unless you're attached to that trunk. This is why you have quote unquote fans who go to games and they feel like they should be able to say whatever they want to say to provoke an athlete because they're just looking for attention. It's like a female who decides that she is attracted to a guy, but she does not understand how to interact with people. So she goes about trying to be negative, trying to nitpick, trying to start arguments or fights. Right? I've seen it many times. Even on the internet, you have people who might develop an infatuation with someone or somebody, and they decide that they're going to get attention from that person by hook or by crook. That is a mental illness. Many people in America, really on the planet, they suffer from that mental illness. It's called not knowing who you are, not spending time trying to develop who you are as a person. This is why you're this is why you have such a predilection for trying to elicit a response from somebody else. You don't know who you are. You haven't spent enough time developing who you are as a person. So now, oh man, I just saw, Allen Iverson out in the street, and, I wanted his autograph, but he wouldn't give it to me. So now I hate him now. I'm going to go on his Twitter and curse him out. No, you're pathetic. You're pathetic. What you should do is take your black ass home and go take a shower and check your kids' homework. How about that? Okay? Instead of going to a football game and worrying about calling people out of their name and trying to get some type of response so that you can feel more validated as a human being, worry about your own life.
To their face. They would never walk down the street and see a person of color and say that to their face. But because I'm in uniform, you think that it should be beneath me to flip you off or curse you or want to do harm to you. Why? Why would you go to a game? And maybe some people go to the game with the sole purpose of trying to do that.
Of course, as I've already stated, they have no form of self-identity. All right. And this to me transcends even racial lines, because even though the Caucasian fan, the first thing that will come to their mind is to call a so-called black athlete the N-word. You also have black fans who go out of their way to try to elicit responses from black athletes in different ways. Whether it's by calling them out of their name, talking about their mother, talking about what they're going to do, threatening violence, things of that nature. It's a mental disease. It's based off of idolatry, putting people on pedestals.
Trying to get up on the person's skin. But why? Maybe you've had too much to drink. But Skip, why would you go to the game and say that to a person? Maybe
they're mad at their own life. They played Pop Warner or JV football. They couldn't get any further. So now that's a way for them to express their jealousy, their envy.
The kneeling for the anthem has ratcheted up this racism. Maybe now, because certain people is in elected office and people feel emboldened.
Here we go with this guy blaming Trump for everything again. Yeah, we all know that racism didn't exist before Trump. We all know that nobody called anybody the N-word, quote unquote, before Donald Trump, Shannon. Once again, the so-called liberal black has a very, very perverse infatuation with Donald Trump. And it's very ironic that Shannon is here trying to wonder why people will go to a game and call athletes out of their name. I already stated it's because of an unhealthy infatuation. But then he goes and he drops Donald Trump's or alludes to Donald Trump yet again. All right. Now, hopefully you guys can see why I speak about the unhealthy fascination that liberal blacks have with Donald Trump. They're actually fans of his. OK, they're fans of his because his name is always in their mouth or they're always alluding to him. All right. It's sad and pathetic. All Donald Trump is a Secretary of Commerce for the United States, the corporation of the United States of America. That's all he is. All right. And let me say this. I like some of the things that he's done. He recently passed a provision to limit abortion rights and, things of that nature, to take certain rights away from so-called LGBT. I like that. OK, so a lot of you liberal niggas who don't, you can kick rocks.
That they can say whatever they want to say, Skip. But this is unacceptable. I don't care if I make $1 billion a game. It's going to be hard for me to bite my tongue, Skip, if you call me that, and I see you call me that, and I'm close enough to you. I'm going to want to do something to you.
Well, do it then. Grab their ass by their neck and choke the shit out of them, Shannon. I would love to see that.
And it's going to take... I'm going to do everything I possibly can to restrain myself. But there will come a point that there's a line that you shouldn't cross.
Look, I'm an advocate of whatever you say, you should be ready to back up. If you're in a crowd and you talking about what you're going to do, if somebody steps to you, you better be ready to do it. Elijah Muhammad used to say, a man should never speak beyond his ability to do. If you're not ready to back it up, don't say it.
And calling someone that is the line that you should never cross. I don't care if they rap about it. I don't care if they make T-shirts about it. That would be unacceptable for a person of the opposite race to call me that. And I'm going to act accordingly. So I can't believe Shannon Sharp said this. I can't believe it. Don't go to a game with this BS thinking you can call someone out of their name and it's going to be okay. It's not okay, people. I don't care.
Let him know, Shannon. Let him know. Go ahead and call me nigga. I'll break you down like a fraction.
I don't care if he dropped 5 touchdowns. I don't care if he threw for 400 yards on you and you get upset. Calling someone the N-word is unacceptable. I don't care nothing about, oh, it's free speech. No, your free speech ends where my rights begin. So if you cross that line, you're infringing on my rights.
I agree with that. I agree that, Shannon, I agree that if somebody calls you a name that offends you, you got the right to whoop their ass. By that same token, when you decide that you're going to kneel and protest the national anthem, people who uphold the national anthem and venerate the flag, they have the right to tune you out. All right? So it works all across the board.
So please stop this foolishness. This is unacceptable, Skip. And I don't blame. And I normally go out of my way to say, you got to show restraint. But at some point in time, if you keep getting stepped on, people feel they can step on you. And now,
oh, absolutely. People take kindness for weakness at all times. That's why, when I did those videos on Insecure, I spoke about the aspect of the quote-unquote nice guy. No, you never want to be a nice guy. You want to be a respectful guy. You want to be a guy who has, standards and morals that you adhere to. But the scriptures tell you that there's a time for every purpose. There's a time to love and there's a time to hate. And the scriptures also tell you that there's a time to kill. All right? So you be very, very careful with the things that you say and that you do to people, because you can and will provoke them to take your life or seriously harm or hurt you. Simple as that.
Not only will they step on you, they'll start walking on you. I'm a firm believer in this, Skip. You ain't gotta respect me, but I'll be damned if I let you disrespect me.
Word up, man. Look, man. We have a disagreement. We can't come to terms with it. That's why the earth is so big. I go east, you go west. Have a nice life. Goodbye.
I hear everything you just said, and I'm with everything you just said. But I must make the point that usually in this circumstance, I would have a healthy dose of skepticism about why a player would react on social media after the fact, after he got shown up by the video on TMZ that made him look pretty bad in the tunnel. And yet, in this case, I'm going to give Terrelle Pryor the benefit of this doubt.
Well, look, man, let me say this. Once again, I'm going to reiterate this. I really hope that he truly was called the word nigger, because I would hate to think that he's just using that as a special plea to justify his actions. Okay? Everything that I say in regards to Shannon Sharp's statements were just in the broad scope. A lot of people are out of hand with their idol worship of not just athletes, but notable figures at large. And they think that it's okay to disrespect people, and that's not right.
I've said this many times on national TV. That word ending in the hard ER. That.
Go ahead and say it, Skip. You know you said it this morning. All right, I have to go debate that nigger, Shannon Sharp. Oh, I'll see you later, Ernestine. Give me a kiss. Okay, get the dog, Hazel. Come on, give me a kiss.
That word, that N-word, is the most evil word in the English language. And I took a strong stand against Riley Cooper when he uttered that word at a country western concert in the preseason of the Eagles a few years back. And that franchise should have banished him immediately. He should have been gone, but we've had Michael Vick, who now works for Fox here, and Michael was proud of the fact that the black leaders of that team stood up for Riley Cooper because they'd never seen any sign of that kind of racist behavior from Riley.
Look, the coach at the time, Chip, I'm trying to remember his last name, Chip Kelly, that was his name. He was very slick in what he did. He basically saw that he had a racial powder keg issue in his locker room, and he turned to homeboy Michael Vick, and he said, "Look, you're the captain of the team. You handle it," so that it would be out of his hands. Also understanding that Michael Vick did not have enough equity to castigate somebody for doing something wrong. So Chip Kelly, in a very, very astute Machiavellian way, knew that there was no way that Michael Vick was going to advocate getting rid of Riley Cooper. Because if he did, only thing that was going to happen was Michael Vick was going to be the recipient of a lot of backlash. And Michael Vick understood that. So he knew that he had to advocate to keep Riley Cooper on the team. So that was all Chip Kelly. So, I don't really get on Michael Vick too much for that. He was just in the wrong place at the wrong time, quote unquote, if there is such a thing. We know there's really not. Man's goings are of the Lord. Everything that's brought before you is purposeful. But, just to use a colloquialism, he was in the wrong place at the wrong time. And Chip Kelly knew what he was doing when he put Michael Vick in the position to make that decision to keep Riley Cooper on the team. Very, very slick.
Riley, I said, well, he just revealed himself for you.
Yeah.
He exposed who he really was. Maybe he'd had a couple of drinks. I think he said he had a couple of drinks. But as you always say, it's truth serum, right?
In vino veritas, there's truth in the vine.
And they hung with him, and I still think it split that team. And Michael has made other comments lately about how, he has some second thoughts about it, but that he was proud of the way that the black teammates stood behind him. So, to your point, are the racists out there now, do they feel empowered, emboldened by the current presidential regime? Maybe?
No. I think that this racists were just racist. I just think that the liberals media is putting more cameras on them now to try to promote the image that Donald Trump is the captain or the leader of people who've always been here. Am I saying that Donald Trump is not quote unquote racist? No, I'm not. I would assume that any Caucasian elitist has racism ingrained within them. But as I've stated, I don't live my life concerned with the thought process of the Caucasian. Part of being self-defined and self-validated is that you move according to your own motions and you're not too concerned about being validated or confirmed by others. And that's the main problem. Just the fact that people continuously mention Donald Trump's name empowers him.
Probably. But in the end, as evil as that word is, you know and I know, there's a line you just can't cross. That I get what you're saying about just because you buy that ticket doesn't give you the right to yell that word. Mm-hmm. But as a professional, Terrelle Pryor just has to close his ears because it's just the way you have to do business.
Let me say this. Quite frankly, I agree with Skip. There's certain things that you have to let go. Why do I say that? I'm of the opinion that if you're going to move on somebody, that you move on them to hurt them or kill them. Why move on somebody to get into a verbal interaction that you're not going to win? You're not going to win that. You turn around and you start going back, oh, fuck you, no, fuck you, no, fuck you. And all this guy's going to do is start laughing, looking around at his friends. Oh, see, look, I got a response. All right? When you move on somebody, it should be to seriously hurt them or kill them. Because that's the only way that you're going to get any any end result out of that expended energy. Why expend energy that's going to be fruitless? So you have to think about that. And is it worth hurting this person or killing this person? How is this going to affect my life? Because I gave this person this much energy. All right? I mean, in life, man, we like batteries, but we don't really recharge. Every energy expenditure has to be worth your time. Now, you will reach a point in life where people are trying to provoke you so much that they do deserve to get their ass whooped. But I don't think that anybody really deserves to get cursed out because that's a waste of energy. You move to hurt somebody. You don't move to go back and forth with them verbally. That's why I tell dudes even in the comments, I don't argue with people, man. You coming on my shit to argue with me, you're wasting your and my time. Okay? Now, if you have facts that you want to deliver, if you say, I disagree with you, brother, because 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and break it down in that fashion, then I respect you. But if you come out here to argue like a bitch, no, I'm not going to respect you. And that's just in general. And to me, Terrelle Pryor, if he indeed was called the word nigger, I should have just kept it moving. At the end of the day, I got to go take a shower, head back to my hotel, contact a couple of big booty broads, handle my business and fly out. That's it. That's the life I'm living. Now you got to go home and get up early to go pump gas at the convenience store tomorrow. That's how I'm looking at it if I'm him. I'm not thinking about you talking about, hey, nigger. I say, hey, look, remember when you call me that word, make sure you know the N is capital. Okay? Keep that shit in mind.
This is why Branch Rickey chose Jackie Robinson to break the color barrier in baseball. What was it, 47?
47.
he said, I chose him because I knew he wouldn't react, because he was going to hear that and more every inning of every game, every day.
Yeah, and I did a video on Jackie Robinson. Jackie Robinson actually was a dude who would whoop your ass in a New York minute. All right? Jackie Robinson was the dude who would whoop your ass in a New York minute. He was chosen for a myriad of reasons, though. He was down with the cause, if you know what I'm saying. He was down with putting the capstone on the pyramid. He was a globalist pawn. All right? For those of you who don't know, Jackie Robinson was a 32nd or 33rd degree Mason. I'm trying to remember which one. As was Branch Rickey. People don't understand during that time period, the communist groups were putting a lot of pressure on the various sports leagues to bring blacks into the fold, okay? Because they were trying to socially engineer America. Also, they wanted to get rid of the Negro leagues because that was a little bit too much competition. Once you consolidate the black and the white players, then you could take all of their market. It was mostly just about business. It wasn't necessarily because they had any affinity or for the so-called black plight or any sympathy for the so-called black plight.
In broad daylight, because they didn't play under lights at that point, right?
But Jackie Robinson, once again, he was a guy who was court-martialed in the military for getting into scraps and for getting ready to fight an officer with a higher title than him. Like, they tried to remove him off of a bus. And he said, no, I'm not moving. And he was ready to fight everybody. Like, Jackie Robinson wasn't no punk. But what he was a pawn.
Right? We're talking 1947. That's 70 years ago. Have we not come anywhere?
You let me know, Shannon. You the one walking around with the white broad. Could you have done that back in 47?
Boy, it's a strong claim to say that you were hearing it all through the game. So that's from a different faction of fans behind your bench, right? Because unless those fans ran all the way to the tunnel to keep yelling at you as you left the field, which would be hard to do because there'd still be so many people because they didn't leave early for that game, right? They were there. And
I think that Skip suspects that Terrelle is lying. All right? I think that Skip suspects, due to the lack of empirical data, due to the lack of it making real sense, that you were called the N-word all throughout the second quarter, as Skip said, from a separate section, and then as you walked into the tunnel, another fan decided to call you that as you walked in. Look, I'm not saying that it didn't happen, but there has to be a preponderance of evidence for me to believe anything that anybody says, because a lot of these woke athletes, they just want attention. Like I said, they think on the level of women.
And the Chiefs, the home team, had won the game. So they were celebrating.
Certain words, Skip, no matter how big the stadium is, you can hear it.
Oh, sure. I got it. That's why I told you when we talked about the Ravens being booed, you can have 100 people boo at the top of their lungs, and it sounds like the whole stadium is booing. But when there is a lull in the action and you yell a word, I got you. But I still say that Terrelle Pryor can't lose it the way he lost it. You just can't do that because you're feeding into their frenzy.
I agree, and it's just not worth it in the long run. You got too much to lose. You got too much going for you, man. I mean, you're young. You're a professional athlete. You literally can have 90% of the women on the planet. Like, why are you worried about them for? At best, they white trash trying to get a rise out of you. Fuck them.
You're recognizing them. You are further empowering them if you react like that.
Skip, I'm a firm believer. The drunk person speaks as the sober mind thinks. So you don't say anything drunk that you haven't thought of sober. And I agree with you on this aspect. If Terrelle Pryor had come out after the game and says, I flipped the guy off in the tunnel, or I flipped a few people off, but they shouted the N-word and they said this.
Like a preemptive strike.
Right, because now it's making it seem like because he got outed with the video, he's saying this. Now,
exactly.
Now, do I believe that it happened? Absolutely. I've been very fortunate in my...
I hope that it did happen. I truly do. I hope it happened.
In my time that when I played, I didn't hear that. Don't know. Maybe I probably would have got security and asked them to have it removed.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what you should have done. And that's what I stated that Adam Jones should have done. All right? That's the right way to go about it. I'm not going to be subjected to somebody continuously doing that during the game. Now, if I'm walking out of the stadium after the game, then you can kick rocks. Have a nice day. If you reach over to put your hands on me, I'm going to do my best to kill you. Bottom line. But throughout the game, you go get security, you have them removed.
But
now that will always work.
yeah,
You can always do that.
but I don't know why people feel that if I buy a ticket, I mean, just because I go to a fast food restaurant and I buy a meal, that doesn't feel like I can curse the cashier out or the manager. But people think, I get it. They look at us as like, you're our entertainment.
Yes, you're minstrel. That's what the word minstrel means. It literally means entertainer, right? The word minstrel and administer has the same root. It means to serve, right? You're there to be a distraction to the masses. That's what sports is for.
You do what we say, and whatever I say to you, don't say anything back to me. We're not zoo animals. I get that you play your ticket, and a lot of these tickets cost a lot of money, Skip.
Yep.
If you bring your family, you're playing a lot of money. But you will shout that word and then talk about...
You know what their mentality is? If they get to you, they're helping their team.
Yes, well, that's their justification for it. Is that, and Shannon should know, because Shannon has said a lot of wild things in the spirit of talking trash to get somebody off their game. All right. That's why, once again, I agree with Skip. The farther away they are, who cares? Say whatever you want to say. I know, if anything, you turn around and look at them and say, look, if I want to sleep with your wife, I can have her tonight. How about that, buddy?
Because they distracted you.
If I get to you, I'm helping. I ain't helping you.
No, you're going to need help.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. I guarantee you. If I get to, I promise you, I'll take your head and spike it like a football.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
But Skip, I don't know. Maybe I'm just wired differently, Skip.
Well, no shit. You played NFL football for 13 years. Lord knows what's going on upstairs inside that skull of yours, brother.
I could not even imagine if I was a fan going to the game and calling someone out of their name.
I agree with that, man. I remember as a kid, me and my dad used to go to football games, and it always amazed me, that environment. It was nice to go there, spend time with my father. We go out, different football games, Giants, Jets, whatever. And you look around, it's like, these people are fucking savages. They just stand there with no shirt on, screaming at the top of their lungs. It's a religion for a lot of these people. You have to understand, some sports is a religion for a lot of people. They don't just take it as entertainment.
I know what that word means. I know what the meaning of things is. Skip, I'm telling you, Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers, everybody has a breaking point.
Yeah.
There are certain trigger words. Now, I don't know what that is for everybody.
But I know for me, if you call me nigger, or you call me, or you say something about LeBron, somebody finna get tore the hell up. That's what I know.
But I know for most black Americans, that's it.
Why would we be surprised that the fans would call a player out of their name? The President of the United States called them out of their name.
Here we go with another liberal rant. Once again, this is another fan of Donald Trump. Another fan. But I will say this, she makes a better point than Shannon did, because at least what she alleges actually occurred. At least what she states actually occurred, pardon me. Because it wasn't an allegation, it was a fact. He did call certain players out of their name, the players who decided that they were going to kneel for the national anthem. But he did not call a name to every player in the NFL, but he did call them a name. So at least she stated a fact.
Yeah. I guess, SOB is not a term of endearment. Last check.
Someone walk up to you and say that, you're going to be upset? It doesn't surprise me. Again, it's disappointing.
No, it's not real disappointing about it. That's just life. All right. To whom much is given, much is required. All right. So now let's see what these guys have to say about the Terrelle Pryor situation, since they're the ones who broke the story.
All right, moving on to a crazy piece of video involving Washington Redskins wide receiver Terrelle Pryor, former Oakland Raiders quarterback. You read about that?
Former Ohio State quarterback. Remember that guy was a quarterback? He was pretty good.
He was a quarterback, and then he became a wide receiver in Cleveland. I was a wide receiver in Washington. And after the Redskins lost to Kansas City at Arrowhead on Monday Night Football, he lost control of his emotions, flipped off a fan, and dropped an F-bomb. Take a look at this video of it all going down. Brandon shakes the house like he's going to do something about it. People are screaming at him, do something, Terrelle, do something. Eventually, a team handler grabbed him and ushered him back into the tunnel.
Now, if you see on the right-hand side, you have a so-called black officer there, or security, whatever he is. You would think that if they'd heard the fan or fans use that type of language, that racially abusive language, that they would have that they would have had more of a staunch response, much akin to what Terrelle Pryor did. They hardly moved.
But come on, Terrelle Pryor can't be doing this.
You know what? I want to say that, and the righteousness inside.
You see those two black officers, those two black security men over there? I don't know. Did they hear the word that Terrelle Pryor states was yelled at him? They seem very calm.
Inside of me wants to say that, but at the same time, I don't care, man. The dudes, they're probably screaming all types of obscenities at him.
Oh, funny you mentioned that, man, because we just got a brand new video in to the newsroom minutes ago from another angle, and you...
Let me say this. I keep calling this brother here at the bottom left Van Jones. My apologies, because that's the dude on CNN who does all the political correspondence. This is Van Lathan. My bad.
And you can actually hear the words that actually set Terrelle Pryor off, and it has to do with something you mentioned earlier, Ohio State. Take a look.
Now you see, they actually got the audio. All you get is the fans saying, you know, F you, F Ohio State. There's no N-word getting spoken there.
Yeah, it's when he said bleep Ohio State. That's what really got Terrelle Pryor's attention. He turned around and then he, flipped the bird and screamed the F-bomb.
Right, so if you're Terrelle Pryor, you had a human moment where you reacted to some jerk who's calling you names and stuff like that. I guess you...
And a lot of these guys look at their college alma mater as, as an actual mother, right? The term alma mater means nourishing mother. As I stated in another video, the college system is a grove that was set up in the veneration of Cush, Nimrod, and Semiramis. All right, that is why it's known as the alma mater, the nourishing mother. All right, you have a lot of the sisters who go to these colleges, they join these sororities, and they throw up the diamond sign, quote unquote, the triangle sign, or the delta sign per se, which is the symbol for the mother goddess, quote unquote, Demeter, right, the goddess of the grain. All right, she's also known as Siri. That's where you get the female voice on the Apple products from. Siri, the female voice that knows everything. All right, that is the mother goddess. Except Siri, as it was spelled, I believe that's the Roman version of the goddess Demeter, who's spelled Ceres. That's where you get the term cereal from. Why? Because cereal is made from grain. All right, cereal, Demeter was the goddess of grain or of the seed. Okay. That's just a parable or a metaphor because the seed actually represents her son, known as Osiris. That's what the name Osiris means. It means the seed, Hasiadi. Okay?
I guess you want him to be better, but we don't have to get heckled on our job, so we don't know what it's like.
Remember, Ohio State is the same university that hit him with a 5-year ban for amid an NCAA investigation
to tattoos
that he was taking improper benefits.
Yeah, I mean, listen, he probably still has love in his heart for Ohio State, or maybe it was
same school that banned him for 5 years.
Oh, he definitely has love for Ohio State because if they would treat him like how one of these cats told me they treated Ezekiel Elliott, they was getting him all type of hoes out there. Look, man, if the FBI and a lot of these alphabet agencies really want to bring down college sports, I'm sure they have all types of information on them. It might be a shakedown. Who knows? They might start extorting a lot of these college, these universities and these programs for money.
Yeah, I mean, look, they had to do what they had to do, but he went there.
Because they came down on Louisville with Pitino, and I'm sure they have a lot more dirt and a lot more people, so it's probably just a shakedown by the government. Look, you guys are making billions. You're going to give us a cut.
Listen, I'm on Terrelle Pryor's side of this entire thing, man. The guy's berating him. It would have been bad.
Hey, don't get me wrong. I like the fight. I wish he would have shown a little bit more on the field because he dropped the key slant in that game. Yeah. Didn't like that. He should have caught it. He needs to be playing a little bit better. The team needs to be playing a little better. You got all this energy after the game.
Oh, the Redskins are playing well.
To the field.
Yeah, the Redskins are playing well. They dropped this one. This is a tight, very tightly contested game, which is another reason why you don't drop F-bombs on the guy when you're leaving the court.
Well, look, athletes are human beings. You just said it yourself. You like it when you see them, act like human beings and react. That happened to Dwight Howard. Remember, Dwight Howard was
Dwight Howard's a fucking idiot.
The Staples Center, and they were heckling him about.
Motherfucker got damn 10 kids from 11 different women. Oh boy.
About Kobe Bryant, and this is how Dwight Howard reacted.
Hey, don't act weird, man. I'm just a fan. Should have stayed with the Lakers. Kobe all day. Kobe, 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 Kobe. Kobe, Kobe, Kobe.
Yeah. Remember that? He's a human being, too.
That's different, though.
He's a human being.
That's funny. Like Kobe all day, Kobe, Kobe, Kobe. He didn't call him out his name.
That's how, look, that's your average Kobe Bryant fan. Kobe's the greatest of all time. Why? Because he's Kobe. Kobe, 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 Kobe. I have Kobe underwear on right now.
That kills me, dog. I love that one.
You did see him drop an F-bomb and flip the finger, though.
Yeah, but that's because nobody dropped an F-bomb on him.
That's true.
All right. So you know what? Let's see the follow-up to this case. All right. So now let's find out what happened in the development of the Terrelle Pryor case.
Terrelle Pryor says that there was a good reason he turned to a camera, flipped it off, and cussed out a heckler at Arrowhead Stadium after Monday Night Football. He says that he was the victim of a racial slur, that people in the crowd were yelling the N-word at him.
Not a racial slur, the racial slur.
Oh, racial slur, the N-word.
Look, I've said this about the word nigga before. There's no such thing as a bad word. There's just a word that's used badly. Okay? All the word nigga means is black. That's all it means. It's a term that goes back to the ancient world. It's not a word. It's only a word that you allow other people to empower themselves with when they call you that. There's a lot worse so-called racial terms that you could use for somebody, or denigrating terms. That word, nigga, was used interchangeably with the term black or negro or what have you, into the 1800s.
The word. He says it happened multiple times during the game, and at the end he finally decided, you know what, he was going to fire back with his finger. Now, of course, TMZ Sports broke the story on this. We got two different angles of Terrelle Pryor walking into the tunnel after the game, turning to fans, flipping them off, and then saying, cuss word back at them, and kind of motioning like he was going to throw his helmet. Now, let's run the audio on both of the angles and take a listen and see what you hear.
Yeah, he said, Terrelle, you a bitch, fuck you, fuck Ohio State. And he said, yeah, fuck you, after Terrelle turned around. There's no use of the N-word there that I can hear. And Terrelle clearly turned around to the fan who yelled that out to him. Once again, you see those two black cops there. Neither one of them seem incensed by what the fan is saying, per se. They look like they're getting ready. Let me just rewind it just a little bit.
A lot of curse words.
Those two cops there look like they're more concerned with possibly having to restrain Terrelle Pryor than having to go up into the stands. Because the fan clearly was not saying anything racially incendiary. All they were trying to do was make statements about his alma mater and really how poorly he played in the game and the fact that they lost.
Okay, I hear a lot of curse words, a lot of expletives, but I don't hear the N-word. I want to go back to the beginning of the other video. Okay, where you see him walking. Stop right there, okay? Now, it's possible that in this area, because remember, it's this person who is shooting Terrelle Pryor right here. It's either him or somebody right near him that is the recipient of Terrelle Pryor's middle finger, right?
Yes.
Okay, so you got to think that if Terrelle Pryor is going to react to this particular guy, then it's got to be this guy or someone in his area that actually utters the N-word. And you see him right there. Those are the first frames of the video that we got. It's possible, maybe, that this guy was screaming the N-word from further away and Terrelle Pryor heard it. But realistically, if he did, that's probably the range where Terrelle Pryor would be able to hear it, right?
Right there. And we haven't seen any reaction as of yet. You know what I mean?
Right. So let's play that one more time.
Yeah, it's obvious that what he responds to is what they have on the audio there.
Okay, here's the other thing. Okay, so first off, let me get to Terrelle Pryor's statement, because Terrelle Pryor made a statement saying...
This is CSI Evan Rosenberg.
Yeah, he says, being called the N-word several times to the point where an NFL employee had to step to me and stand by me the whole game from second quarter on is the exact reason why guys are kneeling during the anthem.
Well, let me say this. It's highly possible that he was called the word nigga during that time period. But during the time period that he's on camera here, I don't believe that he was called the word nigga. Now, he says that there was an NFL executive who stands next to him. I don't think that he would say that. I don't think that he would mention that unless he knew that that person could corroborate his version of events. So I'll give him the benefit of the doubt in regards to his statement there. But if he's trying to correlate his actions after the game with what occurred in the second quarter of the game, then no, you can't do that, brother.
Anthem. As As I walked in the tunnel hearing someone call me the N-word and say bleep you to me, flicking the person off is more deserving. I do apologize to my teammates in the organization, but at some point, if you keep game from second quarter on is the exact reason why guys are kneeling during the anthem. As I walked in the tunnel hearing someone call me the N-word.
See that? Now he says that he heard somebody call him the N-word as he's walking into the tunnel. The portion in the second quarter with the NFL exec standing next to him, that's something that maybe possibly could have happened. Why? Because he mentioned that somebody else heard it, or he's alluding to the sentiment that somebody else heard that word. He's saying, as I walked in the tunnel, hearing someone call me a nigger and say F you to me. That's not what's on the audio, bro.
N-word and say bleep you to me, flicking the person off is more deserving. I do apologize to my teammates in the organization, but at some point, if you keep calling us the N-word, we're going to start acting up. Here's my problem with this.
Sure.
If you watch that video again where he's walking into the tunnel, he's with a group of about 10 other people. You see all those people he's with?
Yeah, I see it too, yeah.
Don't you think that if somebody yelled the N-word at him, one person would react to that?
Absolutely, especially those two black cops on the right hand side, and you also have another black man right there on the left hand side.
Yeah, I agree with you. Here's my thing. I can't speak to whether or not Terrelle Pryor had been called the N-word the entire game.
Right. I can't speak to that either. We don't have video.
Neither can I.
We don't have video of that. In that situation right now, it doesn't seem likely that anyone actually said it. Does that mean that maybe because if he had been berated with it the whole game, that maybe he heard it?
Right.
But I have trouble believing from what I'm listening to that anyone said it right there. But Evan, I gotta say this. I'm sincerely hoping that someone called Terrelle Pryor.
Thank you, sir. Absolutely. That's my sentiment as well. Look, I'm not rooting against the brother. All I could go by is what I heard and what I didn't hear. But for his sake, and I know I make a lot of statements about liberal blacks and so-called pro-blacks and woke niggas and all this other shit. I really hope that he heard what he claimed he heard. I really hope that what he claims was said to him was actually said to him. Because that's a serious claim. When you start talking about somebody calling you the word nigger, I really hope that that's actually what happened. Because we already see what's going on with the Michael Bennett thing. We see what's going on with the LeBron James allegedly getting the N-word spray painted outside his gate with no proof, no nothing. A lot of these guys are starting to look real pathetic. All right. And you put the battery in the back of a lot of Caucasian people, ranging from the extreme of white nationalists all the way to quote unquote Caucasian moderates who might want to be on your side. Right. Because, a lot of Caucasian moderates are confused. They don't know if they want to be liberal or quote unquote conservative. And they watch a lot of this news and, they're getting inundated with the so-called black plight and they start to feel sympathetic. And, when shit like this happens that ends up not being anything that can be corroborated, they start to look at you with suspicion and disdain. So I really hope that he was called the N-word, man.
You say that?
I am, and I'll tell you why. Because if they didn't, and if he used that as a justification, that word that's been so charged, it's caused so much division, that would be very, very disappointing on behalf of that young brother. And I just don't want to believe that he was doing that.
If and only if that did in fact happen, that is an awful thing. And honestly, I don't blame Terrelle Pryor for doing what he did and reacting the way he did. If it didn't happen, and right now the evidence that we have seen,
the video we have suggests that it didn't. At least at that point.
Right. And also, there's one more point to this story, by the way.
What?
Before he put out that statement saying that he was called the N-word, he put out a different statement accusing TMZ of editing it. He said people kept saying I flicked somebody off in the tunnel after the game. That's a lie. These video editors getting good. So he denied that it happened and then said it.
Well, you know what? To give him the benefit of the doubt, maybe he was joking. All right. It looked like he was joking there. He got the laugh face with the tears coming down. Maybe he's joking. But he seems to be somebody who, quite honestly, is not that mentally stable anyway. All right. That's how he comes off to me. That's the energy that I get from him, is that he is extremely immature. He is a phenomenal athlete. But, a lot of these athletes think that they could just say anything and everybody's supposed to take them seriously. A lot of these guys are like little kids.
And then said it was video editing.
We know that statement right there is.
So doesn't this make you feel like he was like, okay, first I'm going to say editing, and then if they don't buy that, I'm just going to go to the N-word? Doesn't it kind of feel like he's kind of scrambling?
It definitely feels that way. It definitely feels that way. But once again, I just don't want to believe that he would take everything that's going on right now and use that to get out from under something.
By the way, look. Just
I hope that he was called the N-word as well, but I'm not going to say I don't want to believe that he would do that, because we've already seen that a lot of these the woke black athletes are so desperate for attention that they'll pretty much say any fucking thing, to the point where they'll even stage being the victims of police brutality. All right. It's really sad and pathetic, because you have brothers out here who actually are the victims of police brutality and are dealing with racism every day. And you have these athletes who want to be Muhammad Ali so bad and don't really even understand what Muhammad Ali was about. Okay? What he was about was joining an organization that was trying to establish their own culture. I don't necessarily agree with their tenets, but at least that is what they were trying to do. These niggas out here are following behind black lesbians, okay? That's what the BLM is. That's what Black Lives Matter is. It is a Trojan horse mechanism that's being captained by Caucasian liberal elitists to, totally utilize the so-called black man as a pawn to bring about what their actual goals are, which is globalism.
look, you see that?
And Luciferianism.
There was an African-American guy that was walking right by him as he was reacting. Don't you think? Maybe if someone was screaming the N-word, maybe that guy would turn around and go, hey?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I get you. I listen.
So the two black dudes right there, or the other black guy standing right there?
The case is compelling, but I just don't want to believe it. But in my heart of hearts, we didn't hear it on the video.
But anyway, there's nothing hidden that shall not be revealed. Once again, we're in the surveillance age, so it behooves people to tell the truth, Like Will Smith said in Concussion, tell the truth. But anyway,